Oh, the amount of arching these people's backs are doing, I'm surprised no one has cracked a spine yet. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're talking about book two in the Demons of Night and Shadow, or something like that. That series, the one by C.N. Crawford. Yeah, we already discussed Court of Shadows, but now we're talking about Court of Darkness. Let me start off with the synopsis before we get into the tea of what happened in this book. Okay, so Court of Darkness by C.N. Crawford. The synopsis states, I would not say things are going well exactly. I live in a burnt out car under a bridge, surrounded by rubbish. When Ruiden shows up to bring me back to the Institute, I leap at the chance. That is, until he throws me into the dungeons. I'm on the naughty list, and the mentor who once trained me is cold as ice. Now I must pass every single trial, or the Institute's executioners will rip me to pieces. Good thing I can handle it. I was the queen of the gladiator ring, and I do not go down easily. This book is from the Demons of Fire and Night World. Okay, such that. That's funny. So, things that I liked about this book, I do like the continuing theme of female friendships, except for the good chunk of this book. Actually, that's part of the things I don't like, so let me not get ahead of myself. I do like the ongoing theme of strong females and female friendship. Love that. Amazing. I do like the action scenes in this book, and I do like the premise of the plot. I just do not like how it's being built up. Okay. Things I don't like in this book. Since I already just stated it, I don't really like how the plot is being built up. I feel like since the book is really small, it's like 232 pages, I think. Around there. It's less than 250 pages. So everything that's happening, the story is kind of progressing really quickly with no explanation of what's going on. And I don't like that much. I do say that, oh my gosh, long books take really long to read. But that's because I'm getting a whole understanding of everything that's happening, like the entire picture, and not just them bringing up things and not fully thoroughly explaining them. So that's one of the things. The other thing I don't like about this book is stuff that also happens in the first book that I think I talked about in that video, where Ariana is either naked, naked, naked. She's either naked or very scantily clad in the books. Actually, most of the women in this book, most of them, I don't really know what Sierra's wearing most of the time, but they're very. It's either they're in really, really tight clothing or they're scantily clad all of the time, which, whatever. I guess it is technically sort of what I'm getting from it, a commentary on the male gaze, kind of like a mock commentary on the male gaze and female characters, while also including female empowerment through bonds and friendship, is what I'm getting from it. But I'm also probably just reading way too much into it and giving it a lot of credit. Another thing that I don't like in the book is how I do not like how they built the relationship between Sierra and Ariana. So much so that you'd think that they were like joints at the hip and Ariana is always wanting to protect Sierra. But like for a huge chunk of this book, Sierra is like nowhere to be found. Ariana does not know where she is and she has not thought about her. She's moving along. Even different parts of the book where you'd think, oh, this you might be in danger, and by proxy Sierra might also be in danger. You might want to, go check up and see where she is not does not do it. And then we find out later on, like very close to the end of the book, that Boleros, who, spoiler alert, is not dead, comes back and uses Ariana again as leverage against Ariana, uses Sierra again as leverage against Ariana. And I'm like, ma'am, secure your friend. If you say that, oh, she's this weak, frail, feeble person that you have to take care of, and oh, that's my best friend. I'm always gonna be looking out for her, blah blah blah. Probably know where she is a good portion of the time. Like I understand that your circumstances are dire and etc. But like, good sis, please, my gosh, you don't know where she is all of the time, but then you're just like, oh, mm, mm. Those are the things that I liked and didn't really like in this book. While reading it, I realized halfway through that this book really reminds me of shows that I used to watch when I was like 12 or 13 years old, like Winx Club, Tokyo Mew Mew, Code Lyoko, all of that stuff. It seems this is the type of drama that I'm getting. And it's very conflicting because I'm like, oh, this is giving me real nostalgic vibes. Like, oh, this is reminding me of when I used to watch Winx and some of the shenanigans that Bloom and her friends would get into with the specialists. But then there's also the subtle tones, subtle and not so subtle tones of like tension, sexual tension. I don't know if I'm able to say the full word on here, so bear with me. But I get a lot of tension tones between Ariana and Ryoden. And I'm pretty sure that this is not a YA novel. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think this is like an adult book. So I'm like, okay, interesting. I'm also conflicted with if this is a romance or not, because the romance is there subtly, but it's very focused on the fantasy and action. So I just took that uncertainty away from myself and continued reading this like this was a fantasy action book. I am not reading this as a romance. I am not shipping anyone in here because no one really shows that much potential of being a relationship. Ariana just kind of goes about seeming like she's using her, prowess and her allure to get what she wants from Ryoden, which, anywho. So, what we've learned from this book about the characters, how the story has progressed, which I'm really hoping they build on in book 3, and I would like some answers. But what we've learned, we haven't really learned what Ariana is. We don't know what she's mixed with yet. That's very heavily hinted. Ryoden's always asking her. Madan's really curious, but he's also creepy. Very, very creepy. If you thought he was creepy in Courts of Shadows, oh, he gets worse. Oh my god, he gets worse. He's so creepy. He actually makes me uncomfortable, but that's what he's supposed to do. So I guess he's a good character. But we don't know what Ariana is. We don't know what she's mixed with. We just know that it's probably dangerous. My theory is that she is probably the child of a fae and one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, the archangels. I think that that's what she's mixed with, and she, just doesn't want anyone to know. That's my theory. We'll see when I start the other book because it's already queued up. It's in a clip. I'm ready to start it, but we gotta finish this first. Don't know what Ariana's mixed with. Ryoden, however, we find out quite a bit about our little, shadow prince in this book. So Ryoden, his dad, we know he's already like the son of the god of night and shadows or something like that. We already know that. We don't know what happened to his dad because remember in the first book when he was talking to Cain and he was just like, oh yeah, our dad deserved to be murked and blah blah blah. I don't know what happened to his dad, but we do find out about his mama in this book. So Ariana has been having dreams about being in this apple orchard in this different country that she's never been in. She just thought that it was, a dreamland. She was just imagining it. It was a figure of her imagination. It was not. So the whole Grand Council of Fae is located on this country named Emain, this world, technically, called Emain. This is where everything happens. All the council, all the decisions, everything is made there. The royal family is there, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it's the royal family or every world has their royal family. That's not really explained. I just know that Ryoden is the prince because his mama was the queen of Emain. So, here's a storyline, right? Ruiden's mom, whose name is Matcha, I think. Yes, so Ruiden's mom, Matcha, she is the queen of Emain, right? Her cousin is Grandmaster Savas. He's supposed to be betrothed to Ruiden's mom. I don't know if it's before, during, or sometime. I don't know when. During this betrothal, Ruiden's mom, Matcha, goes and, boinks Ruiden's dad, the incubus, and gets pregnant with Ruiden, has the baby, and because she's considered sullied because of that, Savas can't marry her. That is also not really explained if that's like a rule or that's just something that he's thinking in his head, like, oh, somebody else had her, so I can't have her. And there was like a lot of incel stuff happening in this book, so I'm very sure that that's probably the wavelength that he was on. So Savas, by proxy, hates Ruiden because he is the physical embodiment of the slap in the face that he got from the love of his life. Right. As Ruiden's growing up, he's being trained by Baleros in Emain. Baleros decides, okay, this child is trained enough, I'ma dip and join the Institute of the Shadow Fae in London. Goes there, realizes he's not getting the power that he wants to get, leaves there, goes back like 15 years before the present events in the book. Goes back to Emain, murks Ruiden's mom, Matcha, murks her, and this is how the series of events starts rolling, right? Apparently, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how old Ariana is, so I don't know when he went and procured her. That was not explained. That's where we're at in the storyline of understanding things. Right. So, after Ruiden's mom gets murked, his sister ends up rising to the throne, so she is the queen now. Bypass Ruiden because apparently he's a bastard. So, he couldn't really get the throne. But, yeah, we learned that Ruiden's a prince. And we also learned that Grandmaster Savas is the one that is working with Baleros to snitch on Ariana and try to get the world key from Ruiden and murk Ariana and Ruiden in the process. Because during the trials, after Ruiden brings Ariana back to the Institute in the beginning of the book, we get a bunch of people during trials come in saying that, oh, Baleros isn't dead, he wants you, blah, blah, blah. Ariana's in the dungeon getting butterscotch sweets. So it's clear Baleros isn't dead. We find out that he is working with the goddess of the sun, who is the direct enemy of Ruiden's grandpappy. So every time they murk Baleros, the goddess of the sun reincarnates him. Like, not really reincarnates, brings him back to life because he's in the same body. So, ciao. Apparently they can't really get rid of Baleros fully. I don't know. But, yes. We learned that, get to the end of the book, find out that Sierra, because Baleros comes back, kills Grandmaster Savas because it was revealed that he was sending fingers from Queen Matcha because he hadn't actually murked her, he just kept her captive. He's been keeping her captive for 15 years. Nobody knows where she is. He was sending fingers of her to Grandmaster Savas to get him to snitch on Ariana and Ruiden, right? Madan was in on it. So he, in order to not displease the old gods, tries to get Madan to murk Ruiden and Ariana. He fails. Then he tries to get Melisande to do it. She didn't do it. Ruiden and Ariana escape to Emain with Madan. Get him, bring him to the council and the queen, who's Ruiden's sister, says, hey, Savas says that we're traitors, we're not traitors. This is what's happening. He can prove it. Madan proves it. They go back to assassinate Savas because that was what they got. Like, basically, keep the prince in the dungeon, assassinate Savas, figure out what's going on. Goes back. Baleros has already assassinated Savas and stolen his crown and his mist army. They start fighting. Baleros brings out Sierra because Ariana, girl, keep watch of your charges, ma'am. So that happens. They try to save Sierra, but he ends up like throwing a ball of fire at Sierra and she ignites. Baleros, thinking that Sierra is about to roast like a marshmallow, does not end up happening. She turns into a whole ass demon because apparently she's a demon, because the stories that she was telling that her grandmother raised from the ashes of a volcano was actually true, and that she is a demon. So now I guess Sierra's a demon and was stronger than Ariana thought. But girl, look at how many times y'all have been in trouble. Why is it now that you're gonna come and say, oh yeah, JK, I could have saved us anyways this whole time? Miss! Anyways. So yeah. Um they end up Ariana ends up killing Baleros by stabbing him in the heart with an iron sword. However, when she does that, he also stabs her in the heart with an iron sword. She dies for like 5 seconds, but somebody with pale blue eyes comes and kisses her. And she doesn't end up dying and is knighted by Rudin, who is now the Grand Master of the London Institute of Shadow Fae. And yeah, that's kind of where we end, with Sierra putting on a dress on her and her telling Sierra that she can't be coming up in here because she's a demon and their whole job is to hunt demons. So now Sierra can like transport in a whirlwind of fire. Yeah. And yeah, she's knighted by Ruiden. And that's it. Oh my goodness. Oh, excuse me. I got the hiccups. I could not. I had to go guzzle down some water. But yeah, that's basically where we end, with Ruiden still asking her, you know, what are you? And her dodging the question like we all don't want to know. Yeah. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. There were some funny stuff in this one, but there weren't enough to make a whole video of funny quotes. Yeah. I will see y'all in the third one. I'm telling you now, if we don't find out what Ariana is in the third book, I'm not reading the fourth. There's 4 in the series. I feel like this is just one story stretched out over 4 books when it could really just be one really big book. Or like 2. Like one 400-page book and another 400-page book. But, you know, yeah. Get your coins, sis. I know KU pays per page, I guess, so... Allegedly, I don't know, but, you know. See y'all in the next one. Bye!